Hi, it's Matt Gilbert here, yet again bending your ear about anxiety and panic attacks. So what we're going to talk about today is the various kinds of coping strategies. It's very rare that when someone starts with anxiety, the very first thing they do is get professional help. What they'll normally do, because anxiety tends to creep up slowly, tends to. It's different for everybody. Some people will just walk out of a shop one day and out of nowhere, they'll have a panic attack. Literally like that. But for most people, it creeps up and gradually gets worse. So as it begins to creep up, it reaches a threshold where it becomes uncomfortable. The person starts to get more unhappy. So they go on Google, for example, and they look at breathing exercises or yoga or whatever else it is. Nothing wrong with any of that, by the way. That's all good stuff. The other end of the coping strategies map, if you like, is things like smoking weed and drinking, using alcohol. Again, I'm not criticising anybody for doing those things, because all you want to happen is all the noisy stuff that's going on in there stops. All the strange physical sensations that can be really unpleasant and really worrying and really add to the anxiety. You want them all, you just want a rest from them. So I absolutely understand that. There's no criticism at all. Now, let's bundle all the coping strategies together in one bag. Coping strategies are just that. They're not a cure, they're not a remedy, they're not a solution. What they are is sticking a plaster on it and hoping it doesn't come off when you get a bath. So what tends to happen with coping strategies is you have to use them more and more and more, because remember, anxiety grows in the background. It's like weeds in the garden. It's a real pest. It grows in the background. So while it is trying to grow, you're using coping strategies, whatever they are, to try and suppress it. So of course, as it grows, you have to do your coping strategies more. So you almost get to the point where, I come across people who are utterly exhausted from having to use their coping strategies, pretty much through the whole day, every day of the week. You can imagine the battle that is. So what starts off as a good idea and a good thing to get you through, then becomes yet another problem. So you've got anxiety and panic attacks up here, and you've got the exhaustion of having to use your coping strategies over and over and over again through the day on the other side. Something has to give. This is how people get utterly exhausted and they arrive at my door in floods of tears because they just can't cope. So what's the way forward? If you've got to the point with your anxiety where you're using your coping strategies and you're using them more, that is a red flag. That's a warning. That means that the anxiety in the background is creeping upwards. So the sensible thing to do at that point, to avoid future problems, nobody wants problems, least of all me, to avoid future problems and to make it far easier to completely shift, remove, release, get rid of your anxiety, that's the point that you get help. That is the point that you get help, so that you're not swapping one problem for another. Lots of people say to me, I thought I could do this on my own. But remember that coping strategies, as I've said, they're not a remedy. They're not a remedy. They're a good intention and a good idea, depending what they are. Got to be careful there. Depending what they are, they're a good idea in the short term. If you just get slight feelings of anxiety and you find that if you take yourself away for a couple of minutes and just chill out or just do your breathing or close your eyes or meditate or whatever it is, that's fine. That's manageable. We can all do that day to day. Arguably, a lot of people could benefit from that kind of thing anyway, anxious or not. But if you find yourself using those coping strategies more, it means that your anxiety in the background is, without a shadow of doubt, taking hold. That is the time to get an intervention. That is the time to see a professional and get it sorted out before it gets worse. You see, think about it this way. That also means that the lighter your anxiety is, the less fixed it is, the fewer sessions you need, the less it costs you to get your remedy, and you don't have to go through the mill of being miserable in the meantime. Hope that makes sense. Any questions or anything, put them in the comments. I'm always here to help. I will be speaking to you again soon. Take care of yourselves.